Breaking news just coming in. Taliban Barbarism reloaded. Taliban paint women posters in black. Visuals on your screens at the moment. They shave the head of men on camera. Taliban torture is back in Afghanistan. It is for everyone to see with the video that we've put out right there. Shiv Arun joins us for the very latest. Shiv, this is barbarism, to say the least, and the Pakistan Prime Minister has the nerve to say in the middle of these kind of videos that we are bringing to our viewers that Taliban has broken the shackles of slavery when you've got Taliban painting women posters in black, shaving head of men on camera. What's going on right there?
Chaiti, I have very little to say to anyone who thought that the Taliban was going to behave in a different manner from what we're seeing captured in these images. The Taliban has, after the fall of Kabul, they've tried to sound like statesmen. They've tried to say that they're going to be benevolent leaders. They've tried to say that, there's going to be general amnesty for government officials and so-called political rivals in Afghanistan. But this is who they are. The Taliban is a terrorist movement. This is a group that has been accused of mass executions, mass rape, gang rape, child sexual abuse, the extreme oppression of women at every single level, including minors. What more did you actually expect, from this group? Now that this is something that they used to do when they were not in power. Imagine when they have absolute power. Did anyone actually expect that they were going to let women be? Did anyone actually expect that the Taliban was going to leave their rivals alone and not teach them a lesson? These are Islamic extremists. This is a terror group that now has absolute power in Afghanistan, and they are going to use their medieval methods to impose their will. There is no two ways about it. And I don't think anybody should be surprised by the images we're seeing, of the posters of women being blackened, or, the heads of men, being shaved to shame them. It's probably only a matter of time before you see,
a little bit of a separate
things like
note,
public hangings and executions. We already...
Well, US President Joe Biden yesterday addressed the world, and he says he stands by his decision of the withdrawal of troops. Did he not for a second think that this is the kind of humanitarian crisis which is going to specifically imperil the Afghan women's right going to pan out right there in Afghanistan? Shiv, if you can hear me? Shiv, my question here is that yesterday when US President Joe Biden was addressing the entire world, standing by his statement of withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan, didn't they even for a second realize or understand that this is the kind of humanitarian crisis that would unfold right there in Afghanistan, which specifically imperils the women's rights in Afghanistan?
Chaiti, that's a very good question. In my opinion, Joe Biden's speech yesterday was an embarrassment. He did it mostly for his domestic audience. He spent most of his time defending the act of withdrawing his troops and had nothing to say about the manner in which Afghanistan has been left abandoned, to the savages who are now in control in that country. So the less said about Joe Biden, the better in this respect. I'm not commenting on him as a politician, but in this respect, there is definitely blood on his hands. And it's not just my opinion, this is the opinion of global leaders all around the world. Every single frame of the savagery you see playing out in Kabul, in Kunduz, in other parts of Afghanistan is going to be on Joe Biden's conscience, because he has made it sound like the Afghan people have been let down by their own armies, by their own politicians, which is partially true. But the United States had a responsibility not to simply create this enormous vacuum, allowing the Taliban to take over and perpetrate the savagery in the swift manner in which they are doing and have been doing over the last few days. And therefore, whether it is people's heads being shaved, whether it is women's posters being blackened, whether it is forced marriages, whether it is summary executions which may happen at some time or the other, much of this is going to be at the doorstep of President Joe Biden. But he is a separate issue right now. The real issue in focus is the people of Afghanistan. Imagine this is the life that faces them. And this also explains in many ways, Chaiti, why we saw those desperate crowds trying to cling on to aircraft to get out of this doomed country. These are the images that is their reality. This is that reality that's been a part of Afghanistan for decades together, and the people responsible for that reality are now in power. Get used to these images now.
Well, very sad to say the least, to get used to these unfortunate images that are coming in on the screens right now. Thanks so much, Shiv, for getting us that context of what is going on right there in Afghanistan. Just to re-encapsulate to our viewers as well, the Taliban Barbarism is on your screens. They painted the posters of the women in black and shaved the heads of men on camera, and there's more to come. There is more to come. After the hostile takeover of Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, Taliban has announced general amnesty for all the government officials across Afghanistan and urged the women to join the Taliban government. The comment came from Inamullah Samangani, the member of Cultural Commission of Taliban. Taliban says that women can be a part of the government structure as their own brand of Sharia. But Taliban action on ground is narrating a different tale altogether. On the left side of your screens is exactly what is happening to women in Taliban. The radicals issued a diktat for women to not step outdoor without covering themselves with hijabs. Staff of a beauty salon in Kabul were seen painting their signboards black to hide the images of women without hijabs.